Welcome back to another CSI Gaming video. Tonight we are going to be continuing with our series, The Introduction to Speed Duels. We went over in our last video, for those of you that had missed it, the different types of cards that are available in the Speed Duels card pool. A little bit as to how to play the different stages during your turn. In this episode, there's not really a whole lot left to go over. Speed Duels is an extremely simplified format. So for the moment, we're going to go into a deck profile for the one that we're going to be using for today's video. To get started with, so we have our skill card, Dragon Caller, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon for our extra deck, running 3 of those. We are running 3 of the Flute of Summoning Dragons. For our spells, for our monster lineup, it looks like, sorry, it's been a little bit since I've used this deck here. We are running 1 Kaibaman, Tyrant Dragon. We are running at 2 for our Dragon Caller effect to help speed out with our skill card. We are running 3 of the Blue Eyes White Dragon, with it being a Blue Eyes deck. We are running 3 of our main starter card, the Lord of D, which is also required to use the Flute of Summoning Dragon. And 3 Blue Dragon Summoners. For our trap lineup, we're running 2 Champions Vigilance and 3 Windstorm of Itaqua. So that is a basic build for your Speed Duels running. Like we had said before, your extra deck can have up to 6 cards, as well as you can have a side deck of 6 cards. Currently we do not have one built for this deck at the moment, as there's not a lot going on competitive play around here. Now, on to a refresher on our playmat. Instead of the 5 zones that you have in standard Yu-Gi-Oh!, we are reduced to 3 main monster zones, 3 spell and trap card zones, as well as having our field spell zone, our extra deck zone, and your average deck and graveyard. The nice thing about these playmats that come with the starter decks is on the back we have our standard rules for speed dueling. So we're going to take a second and go over these, try to help everybody understand them. Each player begins with 4,000 life points. If your life points hit 0, you lose the duel. If you have a fusion monster, purple cards, place them in your extra deck zone. Your deck needs to contain between 20 and 30 cards. Your extra deck, if you have any fusion monsters, can be between 0 and 5 cards. Shuffle the cards into your deck together before the duel, but not your extra deck. You cannot have more than 3 copies of the same card in your deck. Each player chooses 1 skill card before the duel and places it face down in front of them. Flip a coin at the start, which mostly gets substituted out with rolling the dice to see who gets the higher roll. The winner gets to choose who goes first or second. If you go first, you do not draw a card on your first turn. Each player draws the top 4 cards from their deck for their starting hands. Then it goes on into a little bit of the basics, what you can do during your turn, and what monsters can do, how to play spells and traps, how to attack and defend, and the overall basics. we also have on the side here a attack position guide. So, attack position versus attack position. Compare the attacks of the other monster's attacks. The weaker monster is destroyed. Player with the destroyed monster takes damage equal to the difference in attack position. The destroyed monster is placed face up in its owner's graveyard. If your attack is bigger, destroy the other monster, and your opponent takes the damage. The example that it gives us is a Dark Magician Girl attacking into Baby Dragon. Dark Magician Girl attacks with the attack of 2000 into our defending Baby Dragon with the attack of 1200. 2000 minus 1200 gives us an 800 life point difference. Therefore, the owner of the Baby Dragon would lose 800 life points. If your attack is smaller, you destroy the attacker and you take damage. Don't use your Dark Magician Girl to attack your opponent's Blue Eyes. The Dark Magician Girl attacking with 2000 attack, as we can see, has less than the 3000 attack of the opponent's Blue Eyes. 3000 minus 2000, giving us 1000 life point lost. If both monsters have the same attack, destroy both monsters and no one takes damage. Now, attack versus defense position. Compare the attack to the other monster's defense. Your opponent does not take any damage when you attack their defense position monster. If your attack is larger than your opponent's, destroy the other monster and nobody takes damage. If your attack is smaller, both monsters survive and you take damage equal to the difference between your attack and your opponent's defense. For instance, our Dark Magician Girl is wrongfully attacking into a Blue Eyes White Dragon again, and that is giving us a 500 point difference. So the 2500 defense minus our 2000 attack, we would be taking 500 points of damage. If the attack equals the defense, both monsters survives and nobody takes damage. Now, you have your skill card. Choose your skill wisely, as it will have a huge impact on the duel. Skill cards are chosen before the start of the duel. You choose one skill card and place it face down before the duel starts, so the character name is showing. It might say that you can flip it face up at the start of the duel. If it does not, then the instructions on the hidden side of the card will tell you when you can activate it by flipping it face up. When you do, just follow the instructions on the card. And it goes over our deck list for our Yami Bakura and Yami Merrick. So to get into it, the example of the skill card, using our Dragon Caller. At the start of the duel, we would place Dragon Caller face down on the field. And then when we want to use the card, we flip this card over when you activate this skill. Seto Kaiba's skill being Dragon Caller, allowing us to either use the effect if we successfully summon the Lord of D to add the Flute of Summoning Dragon from your deck or graveyard to your hand, or reveal one Flute of Summoning Dragon from your hand and then add one Lord of D from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So we're going to go ahead and play a couple of practice hands. Go ahead and shuffle up our deck really quick, and we'll see if we can show you guys our intended full combo. We don't want our extra deck monsters floating around in our main deck here. Let's put those off to the side. So we are running a 20 card main deck, a 3-card extra deck, and we are currently not running a side. The strategy of this deck is to put out as many large attack monsters as possible in the first turn and just flat out dominate your opponent. So let's try to get it in camera here. So we'll put our skill card face down here. We'll be placing our deck here. We draw our opening hand of 4 cards as we are going first. This isn't really all that bad of a hand. We have our starter card, Lord of D, and we have an additional Flute of Summoning Dragon. So we don't have to activate our skill, but just to show you guys how it would work. On the start of our turn, we're going to activate the declaration of our skill Dragon Caller. Now the way that we most profit from this hand is by revealing 1 Flute of Summoning Dragon from our hand and then adding 1 Lord of D from our deck or graveyard to our hand. So we're going to reveal to our opponent that we have our Flute of Summoning Dragon. Then we're going to go ahead and fetch an additional Lord of D to our hand, giving us an opening hand of 5 cards instead of 4. Kind of helps even things out with our opponent. Now that we're all shuffled up, we can use our Lord of D. His effect being, we can get our camera to focus, that neither player can target dragon monsters on the field with card effects. So, for our first turn, we're going to normal summon the Lord of D, and then activate the declared effect of Flute of Summoning Dragon to summon our Blue Eyes White Dragon from our hand for free. Now, when it's our opponent's turn, he has to get over a 3,000 attack monster, and in order to be able to activate any card effects or anything to target our Blue Eyes, he first has to deal with our Lord of D. With Lord of D not being all that high of an attack monster, it's not really a very big problem for our opponent, but it gives us that little bit of an edge to where they have something extra to deal with. Another option that we could have done, we replay that hand. We could have gone ahead and used our Blue Dragon Summoner. So our camera will focus. We'll get into our effect here. So if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 dragon, warrior, or spellcaster monster from your deck to your hand. So another strategy is to, again, our opening hand only being 4 cards, activate our skill card to fetch our additional Lord of D. We'll go ahead and place our Blue Dragon Summoner on the field in defense position. Set our Flute of Summoning Dragon, making our opponent think that we may have some type of interruption or destruction on their turn, and then pass for turn. More than likely on our opponent's turn, we are going to have our Blue Dragon Summoner destroyed, allowing us to prop its effect. And then we can either summon our Tyrant Dragon or a Blue Eyes White Dragon. So Tyrant Dragon is 100 attack less and has the effect that, let's see if we can get it to focus here. During your battle phase, if your opponent controls a monster after this card's first attack, it can make a second attack. Negate any trap effects that target this card on the field, and if you do, destroy that trap. If this card cannot be special summoned from the graveyard unless you tribute 1 dragon-type monster. So all in all, we want to take our Tyrant Dragon, as it has a much better on-field effect, allowing us a second attack on our opponent, possibly pushing through for game if they have nothing else. So now that it's our turn again, we have our Flute of Summoning Dragon set on field. we are going to normal summon our Lord of D, activate our Flute of the Summoning Dragon, using the effect to, see here, special summon up to 2 dragon-type monsters from your hand. Lord of D must be on the field to resolve this effect. So now, turn 2, we've effectively put enough damage on field to go for game. We would attack over our opponent's monster first with Tyrant Dragon, dealing whatever additional damage we could via attack difference. And then we would have a second attack with Tyrant Dragon, a attack with Blue Eyes White Dragon, and an attack with Lord of D, putting 7,100 damage on board in turn 2. Dueling and speed duels, both being only 4,000 life points, you would go ahead and win your round going into game 2. So let's go ahead and get a good shuffle again, and we'll see if we can play through another test hand. While we're shuffling, we would like to welcome you all to like the video. Join us over on our YouTube page, as well as our Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, where you can find up-and-coming content. Today, we are offering a giveaway with this video. We will be giving away on our next introduction to Yu-Gi-Oh video our Yu-Gi-Oh Speed Duel Starter Deck Ultimate Predators, which includes a Weevil Underwood and a Rex Raptor starter deck. All you have to do to qualify for this giveaway is go ahead and like our Facebook page or YouTube if you're on there. Comment in the comment section down below what your current favorite skill card is. Mine personally being Dragon Caller. And then share the video with your friends. Once that is done, we will go ahead and review before our next video. Go ahead and put everybody that qualified for the giveaway into a randomizer, and then pick a winner. If you are the winner, we will contact you via Facebook or YouTube to get your shipping information for your address, and we will send you out your Speed Duel starter deck. Now on to our opening hand again. We're going to draw our 4 cards. That's all we need to do is draw all 3 of those. Okay. So again, we have a couple of options. We can either A, choose to summon our Kaiba Man, giving us instant access to our Blue Eyes White Dragon, or we can play it the smart way and go ahead, activate our skill card, reveal to our opponent that we have a Flute of Summoning Dragon, and add a Lord of D from deck to hand. We'll go ahead and add a Lord of D. Now, this hand isn't going to be as strong as our last one was, having access to Tyrant Dragon. But there's 2 ways that you can play this out. You can either A, normal summon your Kaiba Man, activate Kaiba Man's effect to send himself to the graveyard, to special summon out your Blue Eyes White Dragon, giving us a mediocre kind of field. Second option, we can go ahead, normal summon our Lord of D, activate our Flute of Summoning Dragon, and then special summon out our Blue Eyes White Dragon. Again, it's not as strong of a field as if we would have had 2 dragons, but it's definitely something that our opponent has to get over. So that gives us a strong board presence. Now we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here a bit and go over some new information that was provided to me via one of our other members. We have all of our contact information here for those of you that are interested in getting a hold of us for any reason. We have also currently started selling on tcgplayer.com. You can find us on TCGplayer under the name CSI Gaming. We do have a lot of more interesting, higher-priced collector cards that we were able to add on there just recently. If any of you are interested in those, they are a great value for the pickup. As well, if any of you are looking to sponsor a live pack opening, you can go ahead and instant message us on any of those previous platforms and get a hold of us. We can arrange a payment via PayPal or some other forms of means. You can opt into buying a pack, buying a box, starter decks, special decks, special Pokemon or Magic packs. We can work out a price as far as something that is good for us in terms of covering the product cost and shipping, and good for you guys in giving you some great content as well as some new product. We'd like to thank you all for coming out to our second introduction to speed dueling video. This kind of wraps up that small series, as again, it's not a very complicated game to play. It is certainly a lot easier than Master Rule Yu-Gi-Oh! Stay tuned within the next coming weeks as we continue our introduction to Magic the Gathering. We will also be starting an introduction to the Pokemon trading card game, for any of you interested in that, and an introduction to Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Rule. Again, thank you for joining us, and this CSI Gaming out.